Hey, my name's Kristen Noe, and I am a CrossFit Level 1 certified trainer. And Lindsay asked me to come on here and do a quick workout for you guys that can be done at home and modified to somebody that has never worked out before, all the way up to somebody that works out obsessively. So, we're going to go through 4 different bodyweight movements. I'll give you variations on ways to scale it down to make it easier and ways to make it more difficult. And then Lindsay will demonstrate a round of the workout. So, I make lots of faces when I make these videos. Just ignore. I'm awkward, guys. Just ignore it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is called an EMOM. So that means every minute on the minute, and it's gonna be a 20-minute EMOM. So for minute 1, you'll do a minute of air squats. Minute 2, you'll do a minute of push-ups. Minute 3, you'll do a minute of lunges, and minute 4 will be a minute of sit-ups. I know it says push-ups, but I'm actually testing you guys to see if you're paying attention, because I wasn't. So, and then minute 5 will be rest. And then you'll repeat that 3 more times until you had 20 minutes. However, you can shorten it if you need to. You can make it longer if you need to. The great thing about EMOMs and bodyweight exercises is that you can make it as easy or difficult as you want to. So, like I said, what we'll do is go over the variations of the movements and the proper form, and then Lindsay will demonstrate a round of the 20-minute EMOM. So she'll do the first 5 minutes, and maybe I'll yell at her to keep going. Okay, so air squats. Most of you have probably done squats before at some point in your life. The setup for an air squat should be that your feet are about shoulder width apart. And your toes should be pointed slightly out, just ever so slightly. So I would say about a 7-degree angle, no more than that. Now, when you do your squats, you want to think about what we call the tripod foot. The tripod foot means that you have 3 points of contact. So here and here on the balls of your feet, and then back here on your heel. So those 3 points of contact should always remain on the ground. Some people have the tendency to roll to their sides, or roll in, or roll back. So the biggest thing you need to think is keep that tripod foot on the ground at all times. Heels should be on the ground, toes should be on the ground. If you have a problem with coming off your heels, which a lot of people do due to mobility issues, specifically in the ankle, then what I tell my clients is to take their big toe and just slightly point it up towards the ceiling, which will help you keep the weight on the back of your heels. Now, when you squat down, you want to try to keep your chest as high up as possible. That tends to be a little difficult for people that don't have great mobility, specifically men. So, if you have words on your shirt, I should be able to read them. If you're not mobile enough, that's okay. When you squat down, you want to think about pushing your knees out while maintaining the tripod position on the foot. So as you squat down, your knees should come out. When people squat, especially with heavy weight, their knees tend to cave in. That will really damage your knees. So again, really think about pushing those knees out, remaining on the tripod foot, and going all the way down. As you come up, same situation. Your knees need to stay in the out position as you stand up instead of caving in. You want to try to break parallel when you squat, and by breaking parallel, what I mean is you should get slightly below a 90-degree angle. So, you should be right here. If you can only go to here, that's okay. If you can only go to here, that's okay. I would rather you maintain proper form and squat to here than to have your form fall apart trying to get down to here, right? So, an air squat should look like this. Alright, in order to make this more difficult, you have several variations. If you don't have weights, you can do jump squats. They're terrible, they hurt, they burn, but they work. So, jump squat is just like it sounds. You're squatting down, jumping up, and going right back down into the squat, right? But it should be just a small jump. You don't want to get a bunch of air, just a small jump and light feet landing on the ground, right? If you have a dumbbell, you can do what we call goblet squats. So you'll hold it in this position, same setup with the squat, and you're just going to squat down and back up. Or if you want to turn it, that would be more of a front squat. You want to turn it into a back squat, same thing. Dumbbell here, back down, and up. Same thing with the kettlebell. Goblet position. I don't know how you would do it as a back squat, but if you can think of a creative way, let me know. Okay, so those are your variations on your air squats. Now, your push-ups. We have several variations of this. The number one biggest issue that I see with push-ups is that people tend to let their egos get ahead of where they're at strength-wise, and they will try to do a full push-up without the strength to do it, which means that their back sags, and when you get that low back pain, that's why. Every single movement that you do with your body while working out will start with your core, because your core is what connects your extremities. So every single time you do any type of exercise, you really want to tighten here. So start your setup here, tight core, and then everything else should fall into. With a push-up, don't let your ego get ahead of you. You can build up to a real push-up. Every single variation of a push-up is going to do what it needs to do for your body and your strength level. If you try to let your ego win and do an actual push-up and you're not ready to, what happens is that your back sags, and that creates low back issues. You will be very sore. You can hurt yourself that way. So, variations of a push-up look like this. Okay, I will do each variation facing the camera and then turn to the side. So, with a push-up, you're starting in a plank position. Your hands should be about shoulder width apart. Think about when you do a push-up, if you go up to a refrigerator to try to push it out of the way, you're gonna push like this, right? You're not gonna push like this, because that's awkward, right? Same thing with an actual push-up. You wanna think about pushing a refrigerator away from you, in which you'll do that motion. So, shoulder width apart. Plank position so that your back is not sagging. I want you to make sure you're looking forward and not down. That can actually create neck issues. When you do a push-up, you go all the way to the ground, chest touches the ground, and then back up while maintaining that straight spine. Again, plank position, maintaining your spine. If that is tiring, when I mean that your back sags, what happens is people end up doing what we call the worm. So, and that's bad for your back. At that point, what you need to do is drop down to your knees. There's nothing wrong with that. Drop down to your knees, still maintaining that flat back, and then everything else is exactly the same. Chest to the ground, and back up. If that is too difficult for you, another variation would be to go up to a box, a wall, whatever is a height that works for you. I'm 5'2", so everything works for me. Same setup. Flat back, plank position, and you're just going as low as you can. Make sure that you do not go so low that your form falls apart. To make these movements more difficult, just like our squats, you can add weight if you want to. So if you have a weight plate, have somebody put it on your back. If you have a small child, that works too. Sounds really uncomfortable, but you can try it. Okay, our next movement are our lunges. You can do lunges several ways. They're terrible assistant coaches, sorry. All right, you can do lunges several ways, but ultimately with your lunge, you want to make sure that you're stepping out to only a 90-degree angle and that your knee lightly touches the ground. So, that'll look like this. And from the side. Not everybody can go that low. That's okay. Just like with the squat, you want to go as low as you can without your form breaking down. Now, variations to make that more difficult. Jumping lunge. Weighted lunges. You can step backwards. It works different areas, right? So if you step backwards, that's going to work a different muscle. For me, those are more difficult, which means I should do them more often, but I don't. So do what I say, not what I do. Okay. Sit-ups. With sit-ups, we use what's called an ab mat. I would be shocked if you owned one. I don't even own one. This one came from the gym. But it goes under your low back right there where that arch comes off the ground. If you don't have an ab mat, because again, that's a weird thing to have laying around, you can use a yoga mat, a towel, whatever you need to help that low back, because it also messes up your sit-up form when your low back comes off the ground. So with a sit-up, especially in a workout like this, where the stimulus is to get your heart rate up while also working your, yes, thank you, also working your core. Thank you. You want to try to make these faster than what you're normally used to when it comes to sit-ups, right? So, your feet can go here, or here, but what you want to do is, and I typically like mine here, just preference, you want to go back, and then you want to think about taking the momentum of coming forward. You want to fling yourself forward to try to touch the ground in front of you. You don't have to go that far. If you're not at a place where you can do that, you can tuck your feet under some weights. Use a friend, use the small child that you're going to use for push-ups. Whatever you need to do to make that sit-up easier, right? So, quickly, in a workout like this where you're trying to get your heart rate up and work your core, you want to try to go through it quickly. So, fling yourself forward. Fling yourself forward. And the reason, like I said, we're doing the fling yourself forward is it makes it easier to go faster. To make it more difficult, grab a weight. Just like that. Alright, and then from there, the next minute would be rest. If I have to show you how to rest, then we've got bigger issues. So, now Lindsay's going to demonstrate how this will work. Like I said, it's an EMOM, every minute on the minute. She will do 4 rounds, in theory. She's only going to demonstrate 1 round. But, in theory, if she were doing the entire 20-minute workout, she would do 4 rounds. With EMOMs, what I usually tell my classes is to work for 50 seconds and then go ahead and take 10 seconds to quickly gather your breath and then move to or transition to the next movement. Keeping in mind that you're only really working for 4 minutes and then you have a minute rest at the end, right? One thing to think about too is your breathing. A lot of people don't think about breathing when they exercise. What you really need to do, especially on your minute of rest, is to stand up. For some reason, we all want to bend over, put our hands on our knees and gasp for air. What we really need to do is stand up, open your diaphragm. This is probably stuff that you're all familiar with just based on all of your acting classes and things like that. Standing up, breathing deep, holding your arms up to really open up everything so that you're able to get that airflow in, right? So slow, steady breathing, deep breaths helps to lower your heart rate before you go back into the second round. Other than that, ready, Lindsay?
Yeah.
Life is hard. The other very important thing about workouts is to find music that you can turn up loud enough so that you can't hear yourself gasping for air and dying. So, because I love Lindsay, I'm going to start some music and then we'll get going.
I'm here to prove that ordinary mortals can do this workout. This is actually not a terrible one. Not too bad, anyway.
I think we'll listen to Truth Hurts.
Okay.
I feel like that's very fitting for my life right now. Okay. So, we are starting with air squats in 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Help you with your career, just a little. You're supposed to hold me down, but you're holding me back, and that's the sound of me not calling you back.
Now at this point, it's important to remember that in theory, she's got 20 minutes to go, right? So she's going to pace herself. If you were only doing one round of this, I would suggest going very quickly through each movement. So I would, at this point, if she were only doing 5 minutes, which she's only doing, I would tell her to speed it up.
Needed something more exciting. Bum bum be dum be dum bum be. You tried to break my heart, oh that breaks my heart. That you thought you ever had it, no you ain't from the start. Hey, I'm glad you're back with your bitch. I mean, who would wanna hide this? I will never ever 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 be your side chick. I put the singing single, ain't worried about a ring on my finger, so you can tell your friend. Shoot your shot when you see him. It's okay, he already in my DM. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me.
Arms are not chicken winging out. She is very focused on making sure that if that were in the refrigerator, it would move.
Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. Bum bum be dum bum be. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, bitch.
If you need to rest within the minute, you can do that. I am very much a proponent of not making yourself throw up during workouts. Throwing up is a sign from your body that it's too much.
Don't fuck with lies. We don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye. Wild men great till they gotta be great. Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. Bum bum be dum bum.
Here you want to try to avoid pushing off of your knee. Oh. But if that's the level that you're at, that's okay. The one thing to think about with working out is that no matter what exercise, you can scale it down or up to what level you're at. Unless you're trying to do an Ironman, I can't help you there.
No glory, let's go. Yeah, the old me used to love a Gemini. Like a threesome, fucking with them every night. A lot of two-faced people show me both sides. So I figured out I gotta be my own type. They used to say to get a man, you had to know how to look. They used to say to keep a man, you had to know how to cook. But I'm solo in Soho, sipping soju in Malibu. It's I me, myself, kinda attitude. 'Cause I'm my own soulmate. I know how to love me. I know that I'm always gonna hold me down. Yeah, I'm my own soulmate. No, I'm never lonely. I know I'm a queen when I don't need no crown. Look up in a mirror like damn, she the one. Like damn, she the one. Bad bitch in the mirror like yeah, I'm in love. Like yeah, I'm in love. Look up in the mirror like damn. And she never tell me to exercise. We always get extra fries, and you know the sex is fine. And I gotta testify. I get flowers every Sunday. I'ma marry me one day. True love ain't something you can buy yourself. True love finally happens when you buy yourself. So if you buy yourself.
Alright, because this is the last minute prior to rest, I'm going to make her go 60 seconds and not 50. 2, 1, rest. Okay, so in theory, this is her rest minute, and then she'll go back into air squats when we hit the next minute, and she'll do that 3 more times. That would be her workout. Like I said, you can shorten it to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20, 30. If you really don't like yourself, you go 90 minutes. But that's a great body exercise. Words are hard. So that's a great exercise for body weight and ways that you can make it more difficult. Yay!
Alright, so hopefully everything goes okay. We'll have one of these weekly. We hope you learned a lot today from watching me die and 2, Kristen teaching you the proper form. Buckle up, guys.
Also, I've been working with her for a while and she hasn't died. She's just being dramatic.
No, it's actually been great. Keep up with your workouts. Keep strong. High pepper. High pepper.
They help. Makes it less miserable.
And next week we'll have something that's maybe a little harder. Who knows? Thanks, y'all.